Today, we are doing a little review on the PreSonus Revelator dynamic mic. And this is what you're listening to right now. So I really feel that this mic sounds fantastic. It even looks pretty darn good too, guys. What do you think? Kind of looks similar to, I don't know, a very famous mic, but a little bit smaller. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. This is a USB mic made by PreSonus. It's the Revelator series, and it's got a built-in DSP suite. So let's go and check this mic out and see what you think about this. It also does routing. It's incredible. Let's go check it out. I just finished registering our mic with PreSonus. I have the Revelator software up, and this is what the mic sounds like right out of the box without making any adjustments. I just put the software on, pulled my mic in, and this is what it sounds like. And so what I noticed off the bat is I'm getting cut off, if you can hear that. I have it on something called Broadcast Basic, and this is what it sounds like, but the gate is on moderate. I just clicked it on low. So right away, you're hearing me much clearer right through. So I just noticed that right away, that's kind of like what you have to do is go and put that gate on low, or you would have to go in there and make those adjustments granularly. And I'll show you that in a little bit. But right now, I just want to show you kind of what this looks like in the software and go over a couple things, because over here on the left, we have Broadcast Basic, Broadcast Radio. And that sounds like that. And then we can go into Broadcast Light. And we see Broadcast Light sounds like this, but also every time you switch, that gate goes to moderate, and then you're going to have to switch it to low. And also, based off of the settings, it will bring your mic up higher and lower because there's different compression settings, different EQ. The thing is, you can go to any of these right now without getting deep into anything and turn them off or on just by clicking on here. And when they're blue, they're on, and when they're not, they're off. So right now, if you're listening with some headphones or AirPods, you might hear some background hiss now. Now, what I did notice is that those sounds are a lot louder in my headphone preamps out of the mic because everything's built into the mic. You get a whole DSP suite. And some of the sound that I'm hearing doesn't ever come through into the recording. So if you're listening right now, you do hear some sound. The gate is totally off, and I'm going to click it back on and see if you notice a difference, but I'll give you a couple seconds of quiet. All right, and that gate's back on. So you should notice a difference with that. And then this is the compressor on and off, the EQ, the limiter, and you can either go in and click each one of these things separately. You have a couple different things to choose from, like you can have reverb, and then you can make fine adjustments on that. Slap audio, where you get this echo. And then you can go right into like Broadcast Basic or Radio. You can also toggle right through these things, but just know that your gate and everything's going to switch. But you also get up to 8 presets that are empty in here. And I think the software, when it comes to this part, is amazing. And it's like, you know, leaps and bounds above everything else that's out there. I'd say the only two things that I see competing here is the Beacon mic and this, but I feel that this mic is definitely way better sounding than the Beacon mic. And that's just my personal opinion. But there are some other things that the Beacon mic does better. But for USB mics, they're both pretty incredible. But I want to go into showing you a couple more things in here that you're going to find is pretty awesome. You have to hit this fat channel up here. And then you can go into everything separately here. So you can go into an EQ and you can make control right here of each band of these EQs. You can even have a choice of a few different EQs. This is a standard. This would be a passive EQ. And here's a vintage EQ. So if you were just going to go into the standard one also, you could pick, like, say, a lot of times in your high mid area, you can narrow this down and then pull out maybe some bad sound in here. So you can go through and make this really tight in here. So you go to your high mid, and this is what makes this band tight. And then you could sweep through in here and pick out what doesn't sound all that good, and then just drop this down a tad and hold that. Now, and you'll have to go in saving all these settings, but this is what's possible in here, and pretty incredible. And so then when you go to your compressor, it's the same thing. You'll have a compressor here, but there's more than just one type. You have a tube compressor, which is off. I dropped down probably a lot. So we go back to the standard one. If you want to do your EQ after you compress, you can do that, or you can switch that. So you can flip flop all these and make those adjustments individually. And you could turn your EQ on and off, everything individual in here also. Here's your high pass filter over here. You could just turn that off if you want. You could do fine adjustments in your gate. And so when I turn this gate off, you might hear this background more, and you could turn it on, but you can go in here and make fine adjustments with these things if you want to make really individual controls where your attack is a little faster, your release holds a little longer, and then make some fine-tune adjustments in here with your gate. And so I just wanted to be able to show you some of these things that you can do. And from here, I think the next amazing thing is that you can go in and route some of this software. And that's where this becomes really powerful. If you had your app volume device preferences up and you were playing something in Chrome, it would pop up. In this case, you have Virtual B over here. Okay. And you would select Virtual B. So you have Virtual A in here, you have playback, but we chose Chrome to go to Virtual B. Done, right? So now if we play something, we should see Virtual B moving up and down. There it is. Okay, so Virtual B is playing. I'm listening to this in the main mix. If I want to control the volume of B, I have to go to B. I can listen to that in my headphones and make an adjustment of how loud I want it. So say I want to keep it there. I'll go back to my main and I'll bring it to the same level. And I know that that's playing about this loud in the background. And so it works well like that, you know, and if you don't want to listen to it in your headphones that loud, I could drop it down here, but it's not going to change the stream sound. I have to go to that mix. This is the way you got to do it. Listening to it in that headphone. And if I'm going to have it playing in the background, I would probably like to have it around there if I was talking. And that's how that would work. And so right now you're listening to Stream Beats on YouTube with Harris Heller's channel. So that's how that works. And it's simple and effective. It works so you can bring your Stream B mix, right, that I was showing you here, the Virtual B, into OBS. You can bring it into vMix. That's what I have right now. And then you go and change the volume for each of those things. So you can have a couple things set to just your playback. And then if you want to have some separate volumes, you can go and change, like, say, Spotify to Virtual A. And then in B, you could have your Discord. But just remember, you don't want people maybe listening to your Discord in your stream. And then you would basically just go to your Virtual B, click on that, and then mute it to your Virtual A. So this way it doesn't doubly play there or in your playback for that matter. And it's just going to hear it amongst your Discord back and forth. And that's how this whole thing works as far as streaming in that matter. And so it's pretty effective and pretty easy. Another really quick thing I want to show you is on the mic itself, there are some buttons on here. The first one's a preset button. So if I go back to the software and I do touch these buttons, you're going to see these change up here, the broadcast radio, the light, etc. So look, there we go. And we're going to switch them back up. And you can go right through all of them for that matter. Okay. So that's how that works. And then the bottom button is a toggle between your volume in your headphones. So right now, if I go and hit this, you're going to see this move, my headphones. And then if I hold this till it turns green, now it's going to be changing my gain. Okay. Now you saw my gain moving. And that's how that works. And then if you want to mute, I just have to touch this button on here till that turns red. And I just muted right there. So it's kind of cool that you have all those things available right there for you in this whole setup. And which makes a great little cough button if you needed it right there. And so now if I'm going to go really quick, I could turn that down back. In my mix, the music, and everything sounds good. So that's basically how this little setup works. And I hope you realize how cool that is. Now, you can also go and play with the voices. And if you haven't, you can see you get these different types of voices. You get distortion. You can get that slap back.
This pitch down, which is crazy. And I'm not saying that you have to use
all these things, but they're there. So that's reflection. This is fog. This sounds like a robot. You have echo. And this ring mode. And V code. And then you just switch off the voice button when you don't want to use those things. I mean, not everybody will use those, but it's kind of cool that they do have that. Another cool thing is if you're using this in any kind of app, that you may have to go and change a delay. Okay. You have a delay here that you can go and change in here. So it will take a lot of your audio effects away. But the cool thing is you can match up your audio delay. So you don't have, that miscommunication between the mouth and the sound. So that's really cool. So overall, there's just a lot of things here that you do have that you can use. And so I hope you realize that this thing is pretty incredible for everything that you're getting and how useful this mic is. Where this is positioned price-wise, I think is pretty awesome. For the cheapest Elgato mic, you got that about $80. The Wave 3 is around $140, and this is priced around $200. And then you got the Beacon mic priced at $270. So there are some differences in how many things you can route. But for the basics of everything that you may need for most people, I would say this would do everything. And then on top of that, this mic sounds so good. Now, I'm not saying that everything with this mic is absolutely perfect, because I definitely feel that if you're wearing higher impedance headphones, you're going to have an issue. This is not meant to be wearing your, 250 ohm headphones. But if you got your ear monitors, or for the most an average set of headphones, this will be perfect. There's no issues. And I do feel that sometimes you hear some hissing in the headphones that never makes it to the recording. And that's not uncommon with a lot of cheaper audio interfaces, but just make that known also. And then the other thing is, I think that they can definitely improve the way they route this software. I think it just can improve in general the way these stream mixes go and how you go about making them a little easier for the average person to pick it up a little quicker. But I think that will go and come with, maybe some more software updates, because those types of things have been changing and for the better. So, but there's not really an overall, major thing that sticks out to me that makes this product not viable. So I think it's a very good option, and I'm impressed by this mic myself, and I would definitely use this mic. I hope this helps you make an easier decision in your future product buying. So thanks a lot, and I'll catch you on the next one.